Alrighty, I see folks are still trickling in, but let's go ahead and get started. Thank you so much again for everybody joining us. I want to thank our panelists for joining as well. Super excited about this demo day here in July. We have three phenomenal presentations for you today, including Omnipad, B1 Sports, and Deutsche Foods. Very excited about each of those presentations. We'll spend about 5 minutes per company presenting their company, and we'll allow 10 to 15 minutes for questions. So please do have your questions ready. We want to keep this as interactive as possible. With that being said, please, a couple quick housekeeping items. Please do use the Q&A feature built into Zoom. I know there's also a chat feature, but Q&A makes it so much easier to track all the questions as they come in. And again, we do want to keep this as interactive as possible, so please do use that Q&A feature. And that's actually all we have to cover so far. So with all that being said, I'd like to welcome the three companies presenting today to the line. Again, that's Omnipad, B1 Sports, and Deutsche Foods. We're actually going to go in reverse order today just to keep things mixing up and keep it fresh here. So we're going to start off with Anthony Sheldon with Deutsche Foods. So Anthony, why don't you come on up and tell us a little bit about what you're building here?
Awesome. Thanks, Eric. It's great to, I guess, informally meet all you all. Appreciate your time joining on. So instead of going through a formal deck, if you guys are interested, of course, our pitch deck and some of the summary, the financials, etc., is on the Netcapital website that Eric is sharing now. Thank you. I figured it would be appropriate to go through what brought us to today and the story of the company and the inception, because the cool thing about it is we never really intended for it to be a company. So my best friend, my co-founder and business partner, his dad was an insane chef, and so he grew up from a very young age learning the tricks of the trade and grew up in food. And so you fast forward right outside of college, he joined the food industry and he was overworked and underpaid. And so he started resorting to the easy food options, which was fast foods and a lot of unhealthy decisions. So he gained a lot of weight, and by virtue of that, lost a ton of confidence, energy, really what a lot of Americans in particular are dealing with on a day-to-day basis. So he had this wake-up call one day. He's like, what am I doing? I know how to create these healthy, delicious foods. And so that's what he did. He took his health much more serious. He started meal prepping and lost a ton of weight, started gaining back his confidence, gaining back his energy. The one thing that he was missing was the sweet tooth. And so just like any other baker or chef, they're the biggest critiques, the critics for food. So he started scouring the internet and trying to find and try every single option out there. And what he found was it was either filled with sugars, fats, chemicals, preservatives, you name it, or it just tasted like absolute crap. And so he made it his life's mission to create the best alternative on the planet. And so for 2 to 3 years, that's what he did. Thousands of variations of testing with all the different types of ingredients out there, all the healthy ingredients that promote weight loss, etc., energy. And after about 2 or 3 years, he finally got to a point where he felt like he accomplished his goal. And so about me, for about 10 years, I've always been health conscious, eating healthy. And my nightly routine, oddly enough, is to have a protein cookie and chocolate milk every single night. And it has to be Fairlife chocolate milk because it's half the sugar, twice the protein. And so I've tried every single type of healthy cookie out there. And so I was visiting him a couple of years ago in Connecticut, and he was so pumped to share this product with me. So he sits me down and he comes out, full presentation with a plate and gives me the macros and the ingredients. And at that moment, that taste, that first bite legitimately was like a life-changing moment. So I asked him, I was like, what are you doing with this concept, with this recipe? He said, nothing. He created it for himself, for his family, for his friends. And so I immediately went into consultant mode. I've been in tech consulting for a decade. And so I started researching the market. The prepackaged protein, bars, cookies, all that is super saturated. But cookie dough is actually the fastest growing snack in the world. And I saw this product being a gluten-free, vegan, low sugar, high protein, edible cookie dough that you can bake into a cookie really fit a humongous gap in the market that was really necessary. And so I came back to him with a business proposition and said, I'd love to take over the business and run that side. And you just keep creating insane recipes, and let's disrupt this industry, and let's provide truly healthy options so that people could ultimately get the same experience that Brendan had. Our goal as a company is to inspire a better tomorrow, right? So inspiring health, happiness, and humanity is really our mission statement. And so what that means, we want people to be the best version of themselves. And the easiest way to do that is to allow people to eat healthier, easier. And so we look, what we ended up after about 6 hours of talking, we finally formed the company and said, let's attack this. And so we are planning to do exactly what Magic Spoon has done for cereal, is to provide healthy, low carb, high protein options that taste incredible. And we plan on starting with cookie dough, then moving on to brownies, cupcakes, cakes, waffles, pancakes, the whole gamut. And really, again, just providing a healthy option to inspire people to be the best version of themselves. So that's really where we're at. We're very, very excited. We've hired and brought on a bunch of celebrity and athlete ambassadors. We've had a lot of traction with restaurants. We actually got off great timing. Got off a call this morning with a major grocery chain, looking to have us roll out nationally to every single store. So it's been a wild ride, but that's really us in a nutshell. I'm excited to hear about any potential questions, but yeah.
No, that's perfect, Anthony. Thanks for giving us the backstory. I think it's so helpful to understand the why behind entrepreneurship, and I think that's critical here. And I think it's also super important to understand who you and the rest of the team are. So thanks for telling us a little bit about yourself. I know there's a couple other team members that at least deserve an honorable mention. Anthony, can you tell us a little bit about the rest of the team?
Yeah, of course. So part of that 6 hour strategy with my co-founder, we started, like I said, creating that mission statement. And what we ended up doing is kind of building not only just a product, but having a huge philanthropic side to what we look to do. So inspiring that health, happiness, and humanity is not just providing great products, but inspiring people to for acts of philanthropy, whether it be volunteering, giving back, etc. So we started building our team with all of that in mind. My wife, who is the best human I have ever met in my entire life, she has dedicated her entire career to nonprofit. And so she's been a chief development officer for a lot of local Arizona nonprofit organizations, and she's worked in sports for the other 90% of her career. And so she walked away from her career to run that philanthropic side for us, where we give back a percentage of our proceeds to really select foundations that you guys can see on our website, which we're very, very excited about. So she runs our events and marketing and our philanthropy side. We have my co-founder, Brendan Conway, of course, who is the mastermind. He's the crazy chef that just, again, I thought I was being punked the first couple times that I had his products. They're insane how delicious they are and how healthy they truly are in every sense of the word. And then Ryan Lively is a partner. I've known him for a decade. Again, one of the best human beings that I've met. He lost his brother to a rare form of cancer about 7 or 8 years ago, and he's been very, very involved with the Sarcoma Foundation and created his own foundation. So the philanthropy side really aligned with his mission statement as a personal brand. And so he joined us a couple of years ago and has been helping scale up from a business standpoint, as our kind of chief sales officer, if you will. So that's really the team as a whole. And then we hired a food scientist to partner with my co-founder and business partner to create these insane foods and keep changing the game and disrupting the health food space.
Absolutely. And I think a lot of us believe anecdotally, but I think the data suggests this as well, that folks are more thoughtful about what they're consuming. Your kind of nutrition and health and wellness have kind of consumed the public consciousness, which it feels like a perfect time for you guys right now. But can you talk about, you mentioned Magic Spoon and a couple other players in the space. Can you talk about how large the market is for health substitutes to less healthy foods, or kind of the bigger, maybe there's a broader genre than that even?
Yeah, so the market is expanding, right? So the the cookie dough industry as a whole is roughly a $13 billion industry based off of last year. It's planning on growing at a 6.6 annual percentage rate over the next 10 years, which will bring us to about a $22 billion industry in about by 2023. And then the snacks, the health snacks market is really where we see a huge opportunity, because like I said, we're starting with cookie dough, and then we're going to expand out and really change the game and provide the most delicious alternatives for these predominantly unhealthy foods. So that market is an $86 billion year in industry right now, and it's growing to roughly 160 billion by 2030.
I imagine that part of that 13 billion you said was cookie dough market.
Yes,
I think at
sir.
least
Yeah.
1 billion of it is this household. I'm pretty confident, but
Yeah.
but
And on that note, the exciting thing about it for us as a company is that 87% of that market in the cookie dough space is owned by the two powerhouses that provide the unhealthy options. So that's where we see, you mentioned the Magic Spoon, so that's why we compare ourselves to Magic Spoon, because our business model is very similar. So with a lot of the celebrity ambassadors and really organic growth and word of mouth type of advertising that has already been there, our best form of marketing is trying the product itself. But we don't want to compete with the healthy options, right? Anybody that is health conscious, they're going to see a new product come out, and they're the early adopters when it comes to food products like this. So they'll try something new. We want to intrigue and appeal to the people that are eating unhealthy, saying, hey guys, you can eat this stuff, is just as tasty as the unhealthy options. We want to convert those 87% people over to the bright side, if you will, of how to be, realizing, because a lot of people, they have this stigma around like dieting, right? And so like eating healthy, they think it's either going to taste bad or it's going to cost a ton of money. And so we want to make that transition a little bit easier for you, that hey, it tastes just as good. Yeah, you're going to spend a little bit more money, but you're investing in your body, and you're going to see the results very quickly.
And in many regards, if you have a full, complete, protein-rich meal, in many regards, maybe you're saving if you're not, bag of chip after bag of chips or something like that. But I think that makes a lot of sense. Going after the everyday people too. Only a couple more minutes with you here, so sorry,
Yeah.
we're going to have to keep the party going a little bit, but maybe we can end on this one. Can you talk a little bit about some of the traction you've had so far? Tons of success up to this point. You mentioned talking to some grocery chains, and then I also want to add a little bit of time for you to talk about some of your next major milestones, maybe any exciting events that are upcoming.
Yeah, absolutely. So Scott and I, who will go next, we were just talking about it. We're partnered with a lot of athletes. So we have a lot of Houston Astros players that are ambassadors, and their wives are ambassadors for us. By a lot of those relationships, we have a lot of connections in the NBA, NFL, musicians as well. We're actually we're one of the main sponsors at the X Games next week in LA, which is really exciting. So if anybody is local, we're going to be at Ventura from Wednesday to Sunday. We are already finalizing contracts with a lot of high-end restaurants. That's really a really interesting opportunity for us to have our brand. So instead of just a gluten-free vegan cookie, it'll be the Deutsch vegan gluten-free cookie that will be on a lot of really high-end restaurants around the country. And then gyms and coffee shops. We have a very, very high up person at a pretty large coffee shop chain. Our intern is the son of the COO, and so we're in talks with and communications with rolling out into a lot of those coffee shops, where that again is an untapped market. A lot of coffee shops have been cognizant around providing healthy options for breakfast and everything else, but the bakery side is really just forgotten. It's tasty stuff, but it's filled with sugars and fats. So there's a huge gap there that we're going to fill.
Yeah, super exciting. Thanks so much for sharing the story, and welcome. One of the attendees just invested into Deutsche Foods, so welcome to the family there, and thanks for listening.
Awesome.
Um,
Thank you for that.
yeah, before we transition over, reminder as always, all the companies on the line here are actively raising capital on the Netcapital platform. You just heard from Anthony with Deutsche Foods. You can go directly to netcapital.com and search Deutsche Foods, or you can go to netcapital.com/companies/Deutsche Foods. I also added a link into the chat, so you can go ahead and just click that link. I'm going to add it one more time to make it a little bit easier for everybody. So that's the link. You can click that and go directly to the offering page. You can learn more, and if you're so inclined, you can invest. Quick question, actually, before I let you go, Anthony. Is there availability for people that want to try this? What's the easiest way to get their hands on a sample, or is that a little bit further down the line?
No, absolutely. Yeah, we have a live e-commerce site. So if you just go to our website, deutschfoods.com, you will see our newly updated website, which we're very excited about. And we are shipping out tons of product on a day-to-day basis. So yeah, if you guys are interested, please go on, try it. If you have any questions as well, please feel free to reach out to me personally.
Awesome. All right, let's go check that out, team. But not yet, after the 40 minutes for the rest of this presentation. So thank you so much, Anthony. Again, you can click the link if you want to learn more. And of course, you can go ahead and invest if you're so inclined. Okie dokie, let's keep the party going here. We're going reverse order today because we're mixing things up. Next up, we have B1 Sports. Scott Deans, why don't you come on and tell us a little bit about what you're building with B1?
Yeah, sure. Let me share my screen here because we've got lots to show here. Let me know when you see it.
It just loaded right now. Yep, in your full screen. Perfect.
Cool. Well, first of all, thanks, Anthony. I definitely want to try the Deutsche Foods cookies. Hey, everybody. Thanks for joining us. I'm Scott Deans, founder and CEO of B1 Sports. And I always start the introduction to our company with the simple statement that we're a mission-driven company. And our mission is to globalize access to specialized training. And what you'll hear throughout the conversation is our decisions on what it means to globalize access to specialized training. And it's all about finding the most affordable and accessible solution on the planet. But it all sort of starts with my story. In 1994, I made the Cal High All-State football team with none other than this guy right here, Mr. Tom Brady. Tom has no clue who I am, and I barely made the clipping as a punter and a kicker, but nevertheless went on, got a Division I scholarship, and then actually tried out for the 49ers and didn't make the team. And so ever since then, I've been kind of fascinated with what it takes to get to the next level. And with metrics like 2% of college athletes, and then only 2% of those getting to the pros, this light bulb sort of went off and said to me, specialized training is absolutely critical to get to the next level. But the problem is it is severely limited to resources and sort of privileged knowledge of what it takes to get there. So that is, in a sense, a 24-year-old impetus of the company. I just happened to figure it out a year and a half ago. So to solve one of these challenging issues and to take a little bit of the latest environment's benefits with NIL becoming legal now for NCAA athletes, we are inventing something called comparative training. And what that means is we realize that the largest body of sports training knowledge actually lives in the athletes of today, but it's untapped. We've never built a technology to actually learn from all the athletes that are playing right now. So comparative training is based on the concept that we can learn from a world of athletes. So we're digitizing all the college, Olympic, and professional athletes who want to join this mission to train it forward for the next generation. And what this is resulting in is a very simple, highly visual, fast, and AI-generated solution where any mobile device, anywhere in the world, you can essentially download an athlete who's better than you, and you learn from them. That's it. this is kind of how it works. I'm going to show you a few videos. So on the left, I'm taking penalty shots in the upper right 90. I was a kicker, right? So I can also rip a soccer ball. But nonetheless, what you're seeing is the body mechanics associated with maximum performance. And what we're doing is building computer vision algorithms to identify the action and then tell a young athlete where they're inconsistent on their body in a matter of seconds. And the idea is every time you're repping, whether you're swinging a bat or throwing a football or bowling a bowling ball or doing lifts, technical lifts or what have you, you can do a rep and then within seconds be informed on where you're on your body, you're inconsistent. And then what we call comparative training is visualized here on the green wireframe. That green wireframe is another athlete who did the hang clean perfectly. And the subject athlete here on the left immediately knows that his elbows are in and by how much, his left knee is buckling, he's not balanced hips and shoulders. And so the goal is to speed up that cycle between action and analysis. The neat thing about what we're doing is we're building a system that works for any human movement. So we're not starting in a specific sport. We can build this across any human movement. And not only is it about body mechanics, but you're creating shapes and paths in a certain action. So this is the son of legendary Rick Barry in the center, Scooter Barry. Scooter Barry is actually my VP of business development, and he has developed the Scooter S. So what he's actually drawing here on this shot is what we call the Scooter S. And now kids around the world can kind of emulate that movement while shooting a free throw. The neat thing about this now is we are building a gigantic catalog of accomplished athletes. So because of NIL being legal for the NCAA athletes, we now have over 200 NCAA athletes somewhere in the contracting process. We have, these numbers are changing daily, but over 90 schools represented, University of Georgia, University of Kansas, which we'll see in a minute. And the neat thing is we're not only creating earning opportunities for these collegiate athletes, but they are training it forward. And now they're hearing about the stories of the young people that are learning and quote unquote training with their heroes. So on the demand side of our model, we're really focused right now on our primary market, which is 13 to 18-year-old athletes. But there are 180 million of them on the planet. And that is a number that's tied to only playing one sport. So if you're a multi-sport athlete, for us, the market is even bigger. What we haven't done yet, but we plan to, is move into the sports medicine, injury prevention, and injury rehabilitation, because comparative training works for pre and post injury rehabilitation. So an athlete can actually train to his or her former self. Very large market. And the neat thing is we're only a year and a half old. We've got significant traction. So everything from really well-known athletes who are now wanting to become investors, Richie James and Cheyenne Parker, two significant athletes that have really starting to work with us. They're also in the platform. So as a receiver or a basketball player, young athletes can download their digital self and learn from it. But the neat thing is we have a B2B model as well. So we're working with many, many different academies, partnerships, and organizations, significant ones like the YMCA. And then we have a marketplace. Athletes train, coaches coach, and then comparatives are actually earning in the market. So this is meant to be a learning marketplace, but you're also earning at the same time, whether you're an athlete or a coach. But then back to our mission, we want this to be the most affordable solution to advanced training. So our monthly subscription is $3.99. And we're even going to build sponsorships and ways to actually create free versions or freemium versions for academies or even communities in underprivileged countries or underprivileged areas of the country. One significant thing that's important for sports tech is it's obviously a saturated market. It's a very new market. The average age of a sports tech firm is like 4 years. But what we believe everything is focused on right now are sensors and wearables, and then achieving the highest technology possible. And what we're focused on is the customer. We believe that the TrackMans and the Kinetracks of the world are going to get the 1%. They're going to be training at the professional level. We're building a solution for the 99%. And that opens us up to a much larger market with a much better price attractiveness and essentially get to a volume play. Now, the reason we're going so fast is I've built an amazing team around me. My partner and I are both MBAs from Rice University, but we're also kind of old entrepreneurs with corporate success in our background. Over 40 years of digital development, probably 70 years across the team in terms of sports and sports technology. So really fantastic team of young people, seasoned people, we'll call ourselves, and really trying to learn and build a diverse view on how to impact this sports technology world. This team is currently raising 1.2 million, and that's what you'll see in our crowd fund. This is really just in order for us to maintain the velocity we've had in the last 18 months and then grow to the next level. And I'm happy to say that our very successful pre-seed round has reached the market. So that means as of tomorrow, we are launching our product on the Apple Store. And this is version 1.0 of B1 Sports. And we're really excited to now get anybody who's involved to start participating. Give us feedback on the app, and we'll go off and make it even better in version 2. With that, I'll say thank you very much and leave with the QR code in case you want to join the mission.
Love that. Thank you so much, Scott. Let's leave that up for a moment to give folks a chance to scan that code. Super excited about the updates today. Thanks for letting us be the first to learn about some of these exciting updates. I wanted to cover something kind of a little bit foundational, just in case folks are unfamiliar. Can you tell us a little bit about name, image, and likeness? You mentioned NIL a couple times.
Yeah, absolutely. So in June 2021, the same month I founded the company, actually, the NCAA allowed collegiate athletes to be paid for their name, image, and likeness. What that basically has turned into in the past 2 years are athletes are getting paid for endorsements and sponsorships. You know, they can support and be an ambassador of a brand, and they may earn $1,000 or $500 and it's gotten a lot bigger, obviously, for top athletes, really popular athletes working with big brands. What's really challenging and interesting in the market, though, is there's a state legislature, there's a federal legislature, and then there's the NCAA, and they're all trying to figure out how to make a sustainable working framework. And right now it's not sustainable. Everyone's sort of innovating in their own way, and you're starting to see the formation of collectives and other platforms that are supporting young athletes to build their brand. And we, as B1 Sports, have taken a position, student athletes, number one, we want to help them build the brand and create innovative opportunities that are not just about immediate gratification. It's like, when you're done in 4 years, are you still going to earn income? And so our model is all rev share and performance based to kind of incentivize them to start becoming our sales force. They're actually marketing the product and essentially earning more income because of it. Does that help?
I think so. I think that was perfect. So thank you so much for digging into that. For those who are unfamiliar, I think that's critical to understand this infrastructure here. For those who just kind of digging deeper into the company here, can we talk a little bit about the revenue model? It sounds like there's an opportunity for a revenue share for the folks creating the content. That sounds like such an inclusive vision. Tell us a little bit about I know you said the price point for the company, but can you tell a little bit more details about the splits or what the other incentives are, anything like that?
Yeah, so the reason we have so many athletes joining the platform is because we're offering more than double the commissions percent on every download in the platform. So what that means is the starting commissions for a B1 Sports athlete is 20% of every download. So you can imagine, if we're gaining access to a market that is as big as we're designing for in the Apple Store, then the volume is going to create the real situation, and the earnings potential of a V1 sports athlete can quickly get to $10,000 in a month, in a week. And so I think that's one of the basis for why they're interested. But the neat thing is, from our perspective, our margin is gigantic, because we can offer really a high percentage revenue to sports agents, to the athletes themselves, to the organization that's facilitating. And even if we're taking 30-40%, we're still making a hefty profit. Now, with the growth of the company, we'll have to pay Apple a larger share of our revenue, but we've built that all in. And then the really neat thing is, when an athlete joins the company and they want to become an ambassador, whether it's brand building or social media posts or what have you, all they do is increase their commissions basis, which means they need to go do more of that to earn more income, which in turn is our marketing, right? So it's a mutual incentive model. Coaches have the same thing. We're also doing the very first NIL coaching deals. So now coaches are signing NIL deals because their coaching module is for sale in the app. And now automated coaching suggestions are being offered because the data science is actually calculating what the error is, and it ties up and pulls out the associated coaching tip to do this to fix that kind of thing.
I think it's such an exciting. Sorry
ahead.
about that, Scott. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
And the coaches are on board as well. I think that's super exciting. One of the things that I think is so promising here is how inclusive your vision is here. Really kind of elevating everybody's game. And as athletes get better, it feels like everybody wins. The consumer gets a better, more engaging product. Like the teams have stronger athletes from all around. I think it's such exciting. I want to say leveling the playing field is really kind of just elevating folks, which feels really promising. I want to have one more question before we switch over, but before I do that, are you familiar with Rick Barry, the underhand free throw shooter?
So I actually spent a weekend with Rick Barry, and he's one of the models in the app.
I was about to say that would be such a big win for those who are unfamiliar. Most NBA players shoot like 70 to 80% free throw percentage, and Rick Barry was not concerned about how people looked at him or anything. Shot about 90% free throw percentage, entirely underhand, kind of granny style, which is super exciting. So I was about to say, I would love to see that module on the app, because we need more folks shooting underhand, winning games.
A neat quick story. When we went to film him to build his model, he's 80 years old. He hadn't touched a basketball. He's wearing a B1 Sports shirt. He nails 38 out of 40 free throws just like that. It was amazing. I mean, the court was completely silent. And then when he missed, we all exploded, But no, Rick Barry is going to be in the app, and young people can learn the most efficient way to throw a free throw.
I'm telling you, I mean, so many games are won or lost right there at the stripe. So I'm so proud of you for getting there before, obviously you thought about this. So that's exciting. I definitely, scanned the code. I'll be downloading it as soon as it's available. And my first module will probably be Rick Barry. Awesome. So if we actually have one more minute to squeeze the last question in, you talked a little bit about the size of the market. So many student athletes, so many, especially young student athletes. Can you tell a little bit more about how big you see the athlete? Because this is not one sport. This is not any specific age group. Can you talk a little bit about the market size?
Well, yeah. So, I mean, sports coaching is a $52 billion annual business around the world. Within that, roughly half of it is specialized coaching. So that includes all your academy coaches, the pitching coaches that you're hiring outside of school or what have you. And that's still a $27 billion annual business. Now, obviously, sports tech is growing super fast. It's like a 15% compound annual growth percent. And then, but our first primary target is high school, teenage kind of years, because they can learn from college, Olympic, and professional athletes. And that's gigantic. I mean, there's 180 million of them. Now, when you talk about sports medicine and we didn't include any of the racing or what we're now going to be moving into, which I can't reveal too much on, but there's a B1 sports and entertainment side coming. So now we're looking at actually protecting dancers' rights and letting people learn how to dance and emulate the dancer from the original artist. So lots of interesting stuff. And the market is, I mean, it's almost too gigantic to even project. But our primary is the 180 million teenagers around the world.
It's massive. That's massive. And I'm excited to learn more about the entertainment component when you build it in. So make sure everybody stays tuned, keep track of those developments, because it sounds like more exciting news coming soon. And I know you mentioned recovery and all that good stuff as well. But sports medicine feels like it could be a massive application as well. So I don't want to do a disservice to the rest of the team here. Thank you so much for your presentation today, Scott. Thanks for sharing your screen. And as always, this company that was presented by Scott, B1 Sports, is available. You can invest directly through the Netcapital platform. You can go to netcapital.com and search B1, or you can go directly to the link that I just added back into the chat feature, or you can go to netcapital.com/companies/B1 Sports. Thank you so much, Scott.
Yeah, thanks you.
All right. Neil, we're going to finish off strong here. Last but certainly not least, thank you so much for joining. We have Neil Epstein here talking a little bit about Omnipad. So go ahead and come on in, Neil.
Okay. Scott and Anthony, both your presentations and product lines seem very impressive and very incredible, actually. And Eric, thank you and your team for offering this platform. Today we are offering the general public the opportunity to invest in the Omnipad Corporation through the Netcapital crowdfunding platform. The Omnipad is a circular moving tread omnidirectional treadmill. Our particular product and my particular presentation, it's actually very simple what we're doing, and I don't think we're going to actually go on as long as the other two gentlemen did, which was actually very compelling and enjoyable. But simply put, we have a patented circular omnidirectional treadmill that is exponentially better than the slide mills that are out there right now. There are companies that have devices where you can wear specialized footwear, felt bottom sneakers, and slide around on a circular disc. The Omnipad is a true treadmill where the locomotion surface actually moves. Actually, you generate the motion on the locomotion surface, the circular locomotion surface. And we currently have multiple patents and trademarks, both domestically and internationally. And we're working diligently to complete, the world's first Omnipad manufacturer-ready prototype, which we're about 70% complete with the prototype. The way the Omnipad works is, if you can imagine a water balloon that you hold in your hand, you press that water balloon flat on top and bottom, and then move your hands around, that water balloon moves in every direction. That was sort of my aha moment when I first conceived of the Omnipad. And that, we call that moving surface the bobbin, and of course that has to sit in an omnidirectional platform where it can support the user, the weight of the user, but still revolve in all directions. Our engineering team has recently had a significant breakthrough where we're able to support that entire moving bobbin, actually have it hovering inside the platform, so there is no friction whatsoever. So we've overcome a great deal of engineering and mechanical challenges to get to the point we're at right now. And we're very excited to get the Omnipad to market. The purpose of this crowdfunding round is to obtain the funding to complete the Omnipad prototype, as well as to advance our intellectual property maintenance and acquisition. As you can imagine, a device such as this, intellectual property is exceedingly important that we're covered on all bases, and we are. The applications for the Omnipad are almost endless. Obviously, the virtual reality gaming, where people will put on their VR glasses jump on their Omnipad in their own homes, at a gym, at their offices, or wherever it is, and be able to walk, run, or jog in any direction through the virtual world. This is groundbreaking, and it's going to, invigorate the entire virtual reality marketplace. So we're very excited to get on the market. Applications. I have a couple of posters up here, but we have applications for military simulator training, sports training, cardiovascular rehabilitation, and obviously entertainment purposes. You can jump on your Omnipad and get into a VR environment, of a medieval castle where you're being chased by a dragon. Anybody who's actually put on a pair of VR glasses knows how realistic it is, or can be. You look in all directions, and being chased by a life-size fire-breathing 3D dragon would definitely motivate people to run and motivate people to exercise. And you'll be, in an environment such as a medieval castle where you'll be required to turn corners and run around different things. Another interesting application for the Omnipad would be for educational purposes, where you have a classroom of students all on their own Omnipads based in Michigan, and they get into a virtual environment of the Louvre Museum in France, where they can actually walk around inside that museum, see one another as 3D avatars, have a tour guide, a virtual or real tour guide in that VR rendition of the Louvre. And just the applications for them. I can sit here all day and talk about the various applications that we've conceived of, that we're aspiring to market, as well as we're looking forward to the plethora of applications that come about from the general public as to how the Omnipad can be used. Our goal is to hopefully, or possibly, partner with a big high-tech industry company. For example, Apple just launched their first set of VR glasses like last month. We can foresee where they would have an interest in working with us, as well as obviously, Facebook, Meta. In 2016, Mark Zuckerberg caught wind of a small company called Oculus, who was developing VR glasses, and he sees the value in virtual reality and social networking and all different areas of industry and entertainment. So he purchased that company for over $2 billion. I think he just wrote a check, lunch money. But we're aspiring to obtain that sort of attention once we have our product on the market or ready to be put on the market. We are well positioned to, I guess, corner the market in virtual reality locomotion surfaces. That market presently is not that expansive. There's only one or two other companies out there that offer the ability to walk or run around inside the virtual world, such as that sliding dish. We really look forward to getting into that market and competing. As far as safety, that's a question that comes up a lot. So the Omnipad will be implementing predictive locomotion AI. So when you get on your Omnipad and start to walk or run in any direction, you do not have to keep up with the tread surface like on a regular motorized treadmill that makes you keep up a certain pace. You just go walk or run at your own pace, change direction at your own pace. But we're going to have motion capture cameras set into the base of the Omnipad, where it tracks in real time the user's locomotion, and that data will be sent to our AI software, where we will be able to predict the next step of the user. And if the user begins to walk towards the edge of the circular pad, for example, or actually starts to perhaps lose balance for a minute, then the motors at that point will engage to seamlessly center or balance the users on the treadmill. So again, our product it's very simple but very impactful upon society, especially these days. And I guess I can open it up to Q&A with Eric and answer any questions that you may have.
Perfect, Neil. Thanks so much for describing that. I was excited about all of these offerings, but as a gamer, I was really excited to dig in and get folks to understand what you're building here. But there are a bunch of really important team members outlined on your offering page. Can you tell us a little bit more about the rest of the folks? And if we could end on Dr. Colby and talk about a little bit about the intellectual property, but let's start with the rest of the team, if you could.
Our prior lead engineer was a gentleman named David Carmine. He is now a retired engineer. He devised the world's first omnidirectional treadmill for the Navy in 1996. And what it was a multi-belted linear treadmill that was put on a daisy chain. So it went, up and around this incredibly large and incredibly heavy platform where soldiers needed to be harnessed from the ceiling to actually just walk on it. But he's the one who designed the very first omnidirectional treadmill, and he's designed subsequent inventions. We actually located him and asked him if he wanted to work on the OmniPad project, and he was very excited to do so. His name is not listed, I don't believe it's listed on our members right now, because again, he has retired, but he is still an active advisor to the company. Then we have Adam Koski, who is a sort of a brainchild, child prodigy, even though he's not a child, who is just a phenomenal engineer who is severely dedicated to virtual reality games, to the OmniPad design, and has credentials that are exceedingly qualified to not only stay on as our lead engineer as a full-time member, but to assist us with the worldwide marketing of the OmniPad. So we're also very, very grateful for Adam's interest and for his input with the design. He is a gentleman who actually came up with this significant breakthrough where we can have the moving tread surface actually hover inside the platform where it just floats in there. It's an incredible adaptation of this design, and we are super excited to get this to market. Then we have Sharon Delaney, who is our director of marketing, and she's a real whiz. She's a lovely woman, and she eats, lives, and breathes OmniPad and marketing. So we're also honored to have her on board. And then we have Mr. Steve Colby, who actually works at Ramon Law Firm, an esteemed law firm. It's actually an international law firm, but he works out of the Menlo Park, Silicon Valley office, where he has also taken to this company and taken to this idea. And he's been working with us for close to 4 years now, helping us develop, draft, submit, maintain, and defend our intellectual property on a worldwide basis. So Stephen Colby he's just an excellent human being. He works about 20 hours a day. I work about 21 hours a day, so I haven't beat. But he's very dedicated to the OmniPad project as well. So we're also honored to have him on board.
Thank you so much for sharing about that. And for companies like yours, IP strategy is so critical. So I love seeing good IP counsel on the team.
Yes.
And reminding folks to continue to ask these last couple of questions as we start to button up. We're going to have a hard stop right around 2, so we'll get these last couple of 2 Pacific, and so we'll get these last couple of questions in here. You mentioned Apple's new Vision Pro, which is augmented reality and virtual reality. Can you talk a little bit about what the investment from the largest company in the world investing in the space? What do you think that means for the overall future of the virtual reality space?
Well, no question about it. That as long as that product has healthy sales, which I can't foresee where it won't, and the product is accessible by the majority of society, having Apple finally in the VR market space, it's exciting to the OmniPad company on multiple levels, but most especially, the ability to interface the Vision Pro with the OmniPad in the very near future. Again, the Vision Pro would be, connected to the Omnipad via Bluetooth or Wi-Fi to the computer. And, you walk on your Omnipad, in any direction. It causes the virtual reality environment to move along with your footsteps. And we're very excited, to see what happens with that Apple product. The Meta Quest is also a very exciting product, and that was our original aspiration, was to be able to partner with with that corporation, and we still may. But again, they're more focused on VR gaming than the Vision Pro is at this moment. I believe that's going to change radically in the very near future, where Apple will actually start to adapt the Vision Pro to gaming, exercise, fitness, especially when the Omnipad is on the market. That's the perfect match for that product, as time goes by. And of course, I would personally project that the cost of the product may come down. The first iPhone was exceedingly expensive. I think they're testing out the market, and we'll see what happens there. So the Vision Pro is available to more and more people throughout the world. So we are very excited that they finally released their product, and we're aspiring towards releasing the Omnipad to the worldwide market, hopefully in less than 12 months, hopefully. So that's where we're at.
Fantastic. And I think Apple was very strategic in rolling out their buy now, pay later through the Apple Card before releasing a $3,500 product. But we'll see how it all comes together.
Yeah. I also did want to intersperse quickly is that we're also, again, working hard and aspiring to have the Omnipad on the market for less money than any of those other slide mills. So that's quite an interesting, factoid. Yeah. So we want to make the Omnipad accessible to as many people as possible as well.
Perfect. Well, probably the last question here. Can we talk a little bit about the competitive analysis? You mentioned, I think, part of what you view, part of your secret sauce sounds like that motion tracking camera and how it interfaces with your artificial intelligence. What does the landscape look like, and how do you feel like you're kind of, defensible or more strategic, or what do you think are the secret sauce that makes your product Omnipad more effective than the others?
Well, thank you for asking that question, Eric. And I love the term secret sauce. I really do. The primary secret sauce of the Omnipad is the fact that it is actually a moving, treadmill that you get on. It's a true treadmill. It's not a slide mill. So that's very exciting. Competitive analysis, is that, to go into the slide mill, there's a lot of time to set up, put on the sliding shoes, and in operating, a couple different variations of that slide mill for multiple companies, it's very daunting. At least it was for me personally, and very tiring to continually have to slide your feet on the floor and pretend that you're really walking or running. So that sticks out in my mind as a major competitive advantage of the Omnipad, because when you get on the Omnipad, again, it's a true treadmill that you walk, the surface moves in any direction. So you'll be able to actually walk, run, or jog just naturally, like you just do out on a normal floor. So that alone really puts us into a unique position competitively. Then we also have the predictive locomotion, artificial intelligence. That's a safety measure, to keep people centered on the Omnipad. The other competitors, to the best of my knowledge, also have or are working on similar technology to keep them, centered on the Omnipad, on their products as well. I think the implementation of the predictive locomotion AI on the Omnipad circular moving platform is also going to be very, very unique. And, as far as competitive analysis was something else that could very well put us over the top. Not only that, we'll also have peripheral devices available for the Omnipad, such as a tilting robotic platform that you set underneath the pad, where when you encounter a hill in the virtual reality world, no matter what direction you're facing, the Omnipad will tilt up slightly to make you feel like you're walking up that hill or walking down that hill. That is something that no other, similar products have or even able to implement into their particular devices. I like to say this, and this is kind of a very strong statement, but we own the mechanics and physics of the OmniPad because we have such, broad spanning and solid intellectual property that, there's nobody else that would really be able to market a device such as ours anywhere in the world. So, that's also a very relevant competitive analysis point. So yes.
Yeah, I love to hear. I love how IP could be a strong barrier to entry and competitive
Yes, sir.
advantage. Okay, so last little bit here, and for those who might think it looks relatively compact, but for those who are unfamiliar, I don't want to say it's a research. I guess it wouldn't be an emergence. I guess it's a little bit more of a resurgence of physical business to business opportunity here. I visited VR gaming studios and shops where you can pay per hour, use these more sophisticated products, which is pretty fun. Just for those who are unfamiliar. Okay, cool. Well, thank you so much for everybody for joining. Neil, thank you so much for your explanation. I'm gonna go ahead and add a link into the offering page one more time here. Okay, there it is. So again, you can go ahead and click the link in chat where you can go learn more about OmniPad and potentially invest. You can also go to netcapital.com and search OmniPad, or go directly to netcapital.com/companies/OmniPad. Last little piece here. Please go ahead and check out the recording if you were unable to see all of this, and feel free to share that with anybody. This will be uploaded to the Netcapital YouTube account shortly, so I'm going to add a link actually to that here. There is the link to Netcapital's YouTube. And I realize, actually, sorry, I think I copy pasted the last one directly to somebody. So there's the link directly to OmniPad one more time, right below the link to the YouTube account where you can learn more if you miss anything, and please feel free to share this. So with all that being said, a little bit after 2, thank you so much for all of our panelists. I want to thank again each of the 3 companies, including Deutsche Foods, who started us off, B1 Sports, who followed that, and OmniPad, who brought us home. So thank you so much for our panelists, and thank you to all the attendees and your thoughtful questions. Enjoy the rest of your evening.
Thank you, Eric.
Thanks, Eric.
Thank you.
Thank you guys. Bye.
Thanks, Aaron. See you.